You are more than just your ability to survive. Think beyond. Find yourself. Let us speak about taking control of your thinking, making it yours. So, what do you think I'm going to say next? Why should one take control of their thinking? To be successful, to achieve your goals in life, to be happy. Well, let's define these things. So, we'll get to the you last, but to achieve your goals, why do you have the goals that you have? Are they goals that you feel will satisfy how others see you? Is there a relationship to that? A lot of us, we grow up around people, family, friends, and we have a link to them. And subconsciously within ourselves, we have this animal nature that links the opinion of others to survival, because we naturally, it's easier for us to survive when we're in groups, when we feel protected. When we feel like we are accepted by our group, then we feel like we are protected by the group. When we feel like we can achieve a mate, then maybe it's conscious, but subconscious is like, okay, I get to continue myself. I get to continue my genetics. But even if you have no interest in having children, there's still a part of you that wants to secure a mate. There's still a part of you that, even if you have no interest in having children, you seek that bond that kept our species going for, hundreds of thousands of years to millions of years. We've changed a lot, but we've been very similar to how we look now for hundreds of thousands to millions of years. There's something within you that wants that bond with a mate. There's something within you that feels like it has a better chance of surviving in a group, especially if it's your familial group, the one that brought you up, the one who taught you how to survive. And even if you never really looked up to your parents, you never looked up to your friends, you never looked up to those around you never thought that you did, there's a part of you that mirrored them in some way, that saw them and copied things from them to become the person you are now. And that mirror, that person that you are now, which is mirrored quite a bit, wants to more perfectly maintain the illusion of reflection of your family, friends, once again, to solidify survival in the group. And to achieve a mate, to continue your genetics. Once again, even if you're not interested in having children, even if you can't have children, there is something within us that seeks approval, because it is how we have survived. When we were animals and then slowly became what this is. And still animals to a certain extent, to a big extent. Just because we're the top animal on this planet doesn't mean that we are more something else than an animal. Because we are so based on survival, we are an extension of nature. And before I go into that, happiness. A lot of what we think will make us happy is based on mirroring. It's based on societal standards, group standards. Just society is just a bigger group than your family and friends, just a bigger group. Or what you think of as human standards. What it is to be a man, what it is to be a woman, what it is to be a functional member of society. Perhaps you feel like you need to be tough. A lot of it's connected to survival, but perhaps not consciously. And we make a lot of our goals based around what society has always made their goals around, which is survival. Once again, an extension of survival. So your idea of what will make you happy will always be in a constant state of desire and want, of greater and greater security. So that definitely forms a lot of what we think will make us happy, but does not become an expression of a realization of who we are. And this is where we go into nature. We are an extension of nature that has the ability to choose to take control of our own thoughts. But if our thoughts, watch your thoughts throughout the day. If your thoughts are always on, what am I going to eat next? I'm using examples. Keep keep in mind, if you are literally dying and you're starving or something like that, I'm not talking about that. Or if you are very, very much struggling to find your next meal, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the vast majority of people that are probably watching this. If you're thinking about what you're going to eat next, or, your boss's approval, or, what's the next project? Or what's the next task at your job? And how is that task going to lead to another task? How is that task going to look to your fellow coworkers, your boss, managers, or perhaps you're an independent and you have to do something in order to sell it or to perform a service for somebody. If you're a mechanic or you're an artist, making something that's good so that you can sell it. A lot of this is linked to survival. A lot of this is linked to, continuing to have a job so you can get paid, so you can pay bills, so you can have food, so that you can have security, and making that buffer between you and oblivion thicker and thicker. But if you watch your thoughts throughout the day, you'll notice that, wow, a lot of it is related to survival. Maybe it's not just keeping your job, but food. If you're paranoid about, people looking at you or seeing a certain part of you throughout the day, or hiding yourself emotionally from people, making a wall between yourself, showing a smiling face, that's also related to survival, so that you're not vulnerable. Perhaps you're just thinking about, I have to do this when I get home, this, and this, to maintain the home, whether it's for relationships or whether it's for, a good environment. Or perhaps what am I going to watch when I get home? What am I going to entertain myself with when I get home? And a lot of that looking forward to like little happinesses, like entertaining ourselves. I do it too. I'm not like above this, but a lot of that looking forward to things is kind of us giving ourselves rewards for accomplishing these survival tasks. But a lot of it's related to survival. Perhaps the rewards and choices of entertainment aren't, perhaps. But if these forms of entertainment are very much around things related to survival, and you just watch, relationships, how groups function, history, how history has functioned, or just funny stuff, and little interpersonal relationship things that are funny. So much of it is related to survival that it's hard to see what part of ourself is beyond it. And I think that the first step in taking control of your thoughts is realizing how much of this is related to survival. Even our idea of heaven and hell. Heaven, when we think of ourselves in a heaven, in a good afterlife, do you picture yourself with your body? As you look now, or perhaps as you used to look? And even there's a lot of Christian churches that talk about, in the Catholic Church, there's this video that I watched about this priest talking about how when you're in heaven, you always look like your ideal self. The prettiest version that you've ever been or can be. But you're still you. But this is still body awareness. And the survival of our body even translates to the afterlife when we imagine these things. What do I do to make that picture of me in heaven as I am now? Or to avoid the hell of burning this body that I am now? Or not reincarnate into a life that is in a more painful body or a more painful circumstance the body is in. Perhaps you don't imagine yourself in a different body, but so much of it's related to survival that it tinges our religion and our spirituality. So acknowledge what survival is, and watch your thoughts throughout the day and examine how much of it is related to some form of survival. And you'll reach a point where you start to question, what am I beyond an extension of this need to survive, which is an extension of nature. And there's nothing wrong with nature. There's nothing wrong with the need to survive. But taking control of your own thoughts, the first step is realizing, wow, if so much of this is survival, and you have to examine yourself before you realize this, but if so much of this is survival, then, what is my idea of the divine? Is it just something to get something from, to get treats from, or to get an assurance of security in the afterlife? Or is it something to become one with? And I think when you start to look past the survival and start to look past all the things that we think that make up us, our sex even, and how sexy we are. That's a huge part of what people think about during the day. Or how not sexy we are, or how sexy somebody else is, or how attracted we are to somebody else. So much of human thinking is tied up in that. And getting past the materiality of survival, it's going to take a lot of effort. But there is a uniqueness to every single soul, to every single person. There's a uniqueness to every single animal soul, because eventually it'll be us, or plant soul, it'll eventually be us. But the uniqueness and the expression and the understanding of the uniqueness is only possible once it reaches a human birth. Then taking control of your thoughts and taking control of your identity is possible because you're aware on a different level. You graduated. And now the vast majority of humanity will not take control of their thoughts because it'll always be connected to survival and will always be an expression of nature and expression of past karma from former lives, from karma in this life, from former impressions, just reactions, seeking security for survival. But, you can sit in silence and meditate. But a lot of this is going to require a lot of thinking and figuring out what makes you unique past survival, past nature, past impressions, past all of that. What makes you you? And if you can find that core of your being, if you can find that fundamental drive, something that you've always wanted to express, that a part of yourself that has nothing to do with making money, that has nothing to do with finding a mate, being sexy, or something that has nothing to do with survival in any way. If you look past all of the survival stuff, you'll find what makes you you. And then you can seek to express that. So taking control of your own thoughts, it's really getting past all of the jabber, all of the expressions, all of the thoughts that we think, and all the emotions that we think are us, and finding who we are. And if we find who we are, then we can take control of what we are not, which is everything related to survival. And that might not seem like a practical method. There are many practical methods that I've talked about, but finding who you are is the greatest way to take agency in your life and to control everything going forward. And even if you surmise, even if you come to the conclusion that, so much of who you are is survival, and that's okay, it's completely fine. But you'll be able to control it better if you find that core. Even if you find that everything around the core is necessary and that it's part of you, fine. You'll be able to manipulate everything around the core of your being without identifying with all of those things that are around it. You can identify, but then you'll see yourself as who you are and be able to move those parts that are exterior, even if you view them as being attached. It's important to, when we're about to respond emotionally to something, take a moment to just stop and think, why am I angry right now? Where's this anger coming from and why? Is it really because of the situation? Or perhaps you're very excited. Just ask yourself, why am I excited? Is it because of the situation? Is it because of what I expect to happen based on what I thought before and what I look forward to? And why do I look forward to this? Ask yourself at every turn why you're thinking what you're thinking. And you don't have to do an outward display or think about it for very long, but when you start to become animated for any reason, ask yourself why you're becoming animated and what is animating you. What are the motivations? Is it you, or is it survival? Is it a continuation of former impressions that are in your mind? And analyze when you have interactions. Good interactions, bad interactions, analyze them. But don't analyze them to judge yourself. Just ask where your motivations lie and who you really want to be as an individual and as your ideal self. Who do you really want to be? Is it the person that reacts in the ways that you do, good or bad? And who is at the core that is controlling all these things? And I'm belaboring the point because there's so many layers to an individual. There's so many layers to a human being that most people don't even realize. Like Shrek said, we're an onion. We have all these layers. And getting down those layers requires a lot of tears, ironically, and questioning the tears and wondering about the tears. It's important to not judge yourself and to not make this as a painful process. But it will require some scary steps in taking a firm look at yourself. But at the end of the process, you will start grasping who you are. And from then on, you can start living a truly spiritual life, not a societal life, not a religious life, not an animal's life, not a life of survival or relationship to survival or former impressions or karma, but a life that you truly have control over. And you might find yourself at a much lower station in life than you thought you were if you start reevaluating in this way. But it's better to take off the blindfold and look around and head in a new direction than to leave it on and continue in the wrong direction. At any rate, thank you very much for watching. I hope this has been interesting. I hope this has been useful. I hope that this was beneficial, even if it's not what you expected. But I hope that this helped you kind of get a different perspective of how to take control of your thinking and really yourself, figuring out who you are. At any rate, thank you very much for watching. Hit that thumbs up down there, like this video, feel free to share it wherever you want, leave a comment, that also helps traffic to the video. And most importantly, find yourself, and I hope all of you have a wonderful day.